So in this video we are going to discuss about ureotelism. So in previous video I have explained about aminotelism. So the process of that aminotelism will be provided in the description box. The link will be provided in the description box. So once if you watch that video, then you can understand the whole process of this aminotelism. And now I am going to explain about ureotelism. So aminotelism is a process where you are going to convert the amino acid into ammonia. In the same way, here you are going to, in this process of ureotelism, we are going to convert the amino acid into urea. Okay, and finally that urea will be excreted out from the organism, right, in the process of the excretion. So what is this ureotelism? The simple definition is the elimination of urea from an organism is called as ureotelism. Okay, so here you are going to excrete this urea. So basically how this urea is formed in your body, and what is the cycle which is mainly present behind the scenario, and each and everything, what is the composition of this urea, each and everything will be properly explained in this video. So please watch this video till the end. So basically, you know the process of the excretion, right? The process of excretion is nothing but the removal of waste material from an organism, from the body of an organism is called as excretion. So this process of excretion will be done by using three various sources. Like it will be excreted by from the skin, and it will be also excreted from the kidneys, and it will be also excreted from the lungs. So if you see in the case of skin, the salts will be excreted out, whereas if you see sweat, you're right, that sweat consists of salts. So here the salts are nothing but the toxic substances. Not only the salts, even this you know what, the urine, which the urea or the which urine which will be excreted out from the kidneys is also toxic in nature. So here the carbon dioxide will be excreted out from the lungs, right, and it is also toxic in nature. So these are the toxic substances. Here basically toxic substances are nothing but which causes harm to your body. So in order to prevent that, what will happen, these toxic substances will be excreted out from your body in order to protect your body from these toxic substances, right? So these water salts and urea will be excreted out by the kidneys. In the same way, the carbon dioxide will be excreted out from the lungs, right, which is nothing but the exhalation process. So in this way the toxic substances will be excreted out from your body of an organism is called as excretion, right? So firstly let us see the composition which is mainly present in the urea, and let us know how this urea will be formed in your body, in the body of an organism. Okay, so basically this urea, chemically it is made up of nitrogen, oxygen and carbon, and among these three the nitrogen will be present in high amount in order to in order to form this urea. Okay, so basically this nitrogen is present in the form of amino acids, because amino acids contains amino group, right, and that amino group contains nitrogen, right? So with the help of this nitrogen only the amino group will be formed. Okay, so because of the amino group the amino acid will be formed. So here the nitrogen will be present in huge amount for the formation of urea. Okay, and basically all of these three components can be seen in blood, sweat as well as the urine. Okay, so here the blood will be purified in order to where the blood, where it will be purified, actually it will be purified in the kidneys, and then what will happen, the waste material which is generated out will be excreted out from the body by the kidneys. And here the sweat will be generated out through the skin pores, I mean from your skin, and in the same way the urine will be generated out in order to purify the blood. So basically these components are mainly present in this three in all of these three things. Okay, and next coming to this urea, it is colorless compound and it is crystalline in nature. Okay, so if you see water, it is colorless. In the same way this urea is also colorless compound. Okay, so one of the most important thing which people have to remember is that, so how this urea is produced, it is produced by the degradation of proteins. It is also, in other words, it is also called as protein digestion. So the proteins, how you get proteins? By consumption of food, right? So once you consume the food, then the proteins will be generated, and the proteins are made up of amino acids, right? So once these proteins are broken down, then it leads to the formation of amino acids, and we know that amino acids will again get degraded in order to form the ammonia. So this process, this where the amino acids will get converted into ammonia is called as aminotelism. So the complete process where the amino acid will get converted into ammonia has been completely detailed explained in the previous video which I have provided in the description box. Okay, so check out that video, then you can understand how this ammonia is mainly produced from the amino acid. And coming to this ureotelism process, now this ammonia will get converted into urea. So that is the main specialization of this ureotelism process. In the ammonotelism process, only up to here will be explained, and coming to the ureotelism, this ammonia will get degraded in order to form the urea. Okay, so from where this urea is produced, it is mainly produced from the proteins, right? So this is very important to remember, and the process which is mainly involved for the formation of this urea is called as urea cycle. And now we are going to learn about this urea cycle completely, so try to listen properly. So what is the main purpose of this urea cycle? For the production of urea. Urea will be produced by the process of this urea cycle. And in the process of this urea cycle, enzymes will be used. So what are the enzymes which are mainly used in this urea cycle to produce the urea? Ornithine transcarbamylase and carbamyl phosphate synthase 1, arginosuccinate synthase, arginosuccinase, arginase. So these are the 5 enzymes which are mainly used during the process of this urea cycle for the production of urea. Okay, so now let us learn about the cycle along with the structures I am going to explain. So please note down the structures while I'm explaining itself, so that you people can easily understand and you can catch me. Okay, so what I have said you here, the ammonia will get converted into urea, right? So here ammonia will be used, and that ammonia will get combined with the carbon dioxide, and by using an enzyme called as carbamyl phosphate synthase 1. So as if you see here, you are going to use one of the enzyme here, carbamyl phosphate synthase 1. So totally 5 enzymes, and among that we are going to use one of the enzyme. So this ammonia will use one of this enzyme called as carbamyl phosphate synthase 1, and it leads to the formation of carbamyl phosphate, right? It leads to the formation of carbamyl phosphate, and during this process it utilizes two molecules of ATP, adenosine triphosphate, and that will get converted into ADP plus one in one of the inorganic phosphate. So here the name itself indicates you adenosine triphosphate means 3 phosphate groups will be present, and here it has been reduced to ADP, adenosine diphosphate, and only 2 phosphates are produced, where one of the inorganic phosphate will be used as the energy source during this reaction. Okay, so now finally you are going to produce carbamyl phosphate, and now this carbamyl phosphate will use another enzyme called as ornithine transcarbamylase. Okay, so one of the enzyme which has been already used, which is called as carbamyl phosphate synthase 1, and now we are going to use another enzyme called as ornithine transcarbamylase. Okay, so now ornithine transcarbamylase is an enzyme which will be used by this carbamyl phosphate, and this leads to the production of citrulline, right? So this is the structure of the citrulline. So finally citrulline will be produced, and now the citrulline will use aspartate by using an enzyme called as arginosuccinate, and leads to the formation of arginosuccinate. Okay, by it uses arginosuccinate synthase enzyme and leads to the formation of arginosuccinate. So from where this aspartate is produced, it is taking inside this this aspartate. Okay, here it is not going to produce, it is taking this aspartate. So from where this aspartate is produced, it is produced from TCA cycle, produced from TCA cycle. So this TCA cycle, there are other words for this TCA cycle called as Krebs cycle and citric acid cycle. So I have clearly explained about this citric acid cycle or this Krebs cycle, and that link also will be provided in the description box. So people who are interested to watch that video, you can watch it, such that you can understand how this aspartate is mainly formed and why it is used in this urea cycle, because to produce the urea. Okay, so basically each of the cycles are interrelated, right? So like this aspartate which is mainly produced from the TCA cycle, it will be used in this urea cycle. So it is interrelated, right? So that's what. So this aspartate will be used by the citrulline by using an enzyme called as arginosuccinate synthase, and leads to the formation of arginosuccinate. Okay, arginosuccinate. So now what will happen? Now if you see the structure of this arginosuccinate, so there is a bond which is mainly present between carbon as well as the nitrogen, right? And that will get broken down, right? As if you see here, that will get broken down. So now once it get broken down, then what will happen? It leads to the formation of arginine and fumarate. Arginine and fumarate. So this will be the arginine. The here structure which is mainly present will be the arginine. So as the bond is broken down, then this product is called as fumarate. And now what will happen to the product? That product will be liberated out. So as if you see in the diagram which I have represented over here, the fumarate is nothing but the broken part. I mean, this remaining part will be liberated out. So now by using the enzyme called as arginosuccinase, this leads to the formation of arginine. The remaining thing which is left over is called as arginine. Okay, so how it is formed? By using an enzyme called as arginosuccinase. So what are the enzymes which we have used in the process of this urea cycle? Carbamyl phosphate synthase 1, ornithine transcarbamylase, right? And there is arginosuccinate synthase, and now we are going to use arginosuccinase in order to form the arginine. Okay, so now once this arginine is formed, now by using an enzyme called as arginase, then we are going to produce final product. So what is that product? Which is called as urea. Okay, so here one of the water molecule will be used in order to form this urea. So what we want actually? Urea. Okay, that will be produced by this urea cycle by using the certain enzymes. So here another enzyme called as arginase. So totally 5 enzymes has been used, right, in order to produce this urea. So now this by using this arginase enzyme, what will happen? It leads to the formation of ornithine. Okay, it leads to the formation of ornithine. So now what we want, from which the ammonia which is mainly produced, and that ammonia will be utilized and it will get it will get reduced to urea, right? That's what we have came to know in the protein degeneration, right? So protein degeneration is nothing but the degradation, is nothing but the proteins will get converted to amino acids will get converted into ammonia, and that ammonia, see, that ammonia will get reduced or else will get converted into urea by the process of this whole urea cycle, right? So that's what I have explained you before. As if you see here, these proteins will get converted into amino acids and then ammonia, and then that ammonia will get converted into urea. How? By using those 5 enzymes. So what are those 5 enzymes? Ornithine transcarbamylase, carbamyl phosphate synthase 1, organosuccinate synthase, organosuccinase, and arginase. Remember these terms. Okay, so that process where the ammonia will get converted into the urea is called as urea cycle. So till now what we have discussed is the urea cycle. In that way the urea will be produced, and now what will happen to this urea? It will get mixed with the water and salts. So that's what I have mentioned over here. So each and everything I have mentioned. So in the kidneys what will happen? It will get that particular urea which is mainly produced will get mixed with the salts and water which is mainly present in the kidneys, and then it will get excreted out by the process of this excretion, right? So this is how the mechanism of the ureotelism will be present. So excretion will be of two types. I mean the methodology of this excretion will be done by using two methods. One is the two methods are highly used for the process of this excretion. One is aminotelism and another is ureotelism. So either from this one, either from this both, if one is not working, one mechanism is not working, then it leads to the failure of your kidneys. Okay, so both of these mechanisms should definitely work in order to perform the process of this excretion, right? So this is what about the ureotelism. I hope you would like my explanation, and if you like it, just like the video, subscribe to my channel, and also press the bell icon for the latest updates. Thank you.